Komis. My name is Muhammad Hamizan bin Azman. My metric number is A163509. My group will be discuss about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in the construction industry, and I will be a representative of the government to give a talk about this issue. During the final video, I will emphasize the challenge faced by the government toward the construction industry because of the COVID-19 pandemic. When the COVID-19 viruses have reached our country, there are a lot of people from every layer are facing difficulties to survive and maintain their own lifestyle with the new norms, including the government. Nowadays, when we open a topic about the government, many people will throw a lot of critics and hate comments about the contribution of the government towards the minimization of COVID-19 cases. On March 2021, Minister of Religious Affairs in the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Zulkifli Muhammad Al-Bakri, had tweeted on his Twitter account and making a long thread to counter a hateful comment toward him saying that he never does his job. He ended his tweet by saying that today's generation should stop believing in the fake news from social media and start to physically explore the world by themselves. This shows us that people nowadays are lack of real information and depending a lot on news about the government only from social media. The idea of taking the role as representative of the government is to create awareness to the people and prevent from the wrong perspective towards the government. The other reason for being a representative of the government is to emphasize the importance of a government in the construction industry. A country with a good and stable economy will create a lot of opportunities for the construction engineer to build much big and luxurious building. We take the United Arab Emirates as example of a good and stable economic country. We can see a lot of big and luxurious building, including the tallest building in the world is from the United Arab Emirates. The government have the highest hierarchy of power to decide the future of the country's economy. A good decision from the government will lead to a better country's economy, thus create a better opportunity for the construction engineer. With the present of the COVID-19 pandemic, the sustainability of a good economy by the government will be more challenging and affect the construction industry. That's all for me. I will pass the turn to Amin and continue with his point. Thank you.
Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aminzikri bin Radzi and my metric number is A166463. So I'm going to talk about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in the construction industry. The first things that affected us during this pandemic are the economy of the company. As we know, at the early stage when the pandemic hit us, almost all construction projects are put on hold due to the movement control order. For us, time is money. With machineries rental, labor salaries, office rental, etc., every second costs us money. In addition, during this pandemic, there is almost no demand for a new development or new construction projects, neither from the government or private sector. For the government, we believe this is because most of the funding goes to the hospitalization, vaccination, and Prihatin Rakyat Economic Stimulus Package, also known as BPR, to fight this COVID-19 pandemic. Since new development is not as essential as health of the citizen, it is not a priority at this moment. For private sector developer, the demand for a house or any building are very low. In fact, the current developed properties are hardly to be sold. This is because every citizen of Malaysia affected financially by this pandemic. So, demand for properties currently are low, which causing the price of properties going down. This is because the simple concept of supply and demand. When the demand is low and the supply is high, the price drops. So they are struggling to make profit out of fear. Therefore, they are not likely to start a new development anytime soon. So, development and construction is our main income. With no new projects from the government as well as the private sector, construction industry are currently suffer with no jobs. To state the truth, some of the construction companies are currently running at loss. In order to keep surviving, there are a lot of things need to be done by us. To avoid the company goes bankrupt, we need to manage its finances. How? It is to reduce the overhead costs of the company. One of the main overhead costs is the wages of the employee. In other words, the employee is pushed to the wall. Either they choose to reduce the wages of the employee, fire the employee, or they can choose to suffer the loss day by day and then went bankrupt. Obviously, as the employer, to save my company, I will choose to reduce the wages or fire the employee, so that at least in the future, we can grow again and hire people again. And that's why fresh graduates and employees should not blaming everything at us. We did this to sustain ourselves. Believe me, when this pandemic ends, we will get back on our feet and starting to hire people again, as well as give a better salaries. Things will be normal again. I hope this pandemic ends quickly. So, I think now that I should pass the stage to Rosli Abdullah as the representative of the employee to see their opinion on this issue from their point of view.
Thank you, Mr. Amin, for a great point about the effect of COVID-19 to the employer. That's a very useful for all of us. I'm good and glad to be here with you guys to discuss about the impact of COVID-19 pandemic in construction industry. My name is Roslie by Abdullah. My metric number is A166353. Okay, now let's discuss about the impact of COVID-19 to the employee in construction sector. As we know, COVID-19 is pandemic issue that is causing widespread global disruption, forcing lockdown in many countries in the world, including Malaysia, as an effort in breaking the virus from spreading. One of the most problem to workers in construction sector is workforce shortage due to suspension of construction project. In fact, the movement of workers between the construction site has been identified as a main cause of spreading of COVID-19 at construction site. For example, Cluster Damalela, whereby 5 construction projects were affected by the end of year 2020. The work progress have been halted and changed. The new project path while the construction practice come to term with new way of working due to this case. The construction need to adjust to social distancing, implementing new hygiene and personal protective equipment measure once the project is resumed. Some steps must still taken by the employer, such as reduce the number of employees to minimum or at least 50% of the total normally present. When adapting work to cope with reduced workforce, for example by putting in place new procedure and changing their role and responsibility, the employee need to consider whether the employee need additional training and support to make sure that all workers are competent to carry out the tasks they are required to perform. Due to this pandemic, job loss in Malaysia has increased about 42% year on year for this first quarter of 2021, including construction sector according to Social Security Organisation (SOCSO). Lack of funding and high overhead costs also contribute to the construction industry workers shortage. The new technology adoption such as industrialized building system will reduce more unskilled workers in construction industry. The effect is the greater job loss among the low-paid workers than high-paid workers, which rise the average of earning of workers still in job. The workers may be concerned about the possibility of losing their job due to this pandemic. The company need to promote the mobility of workers from construction sector to another sector if this thing happen. That's all from me. Now I will pass to Ms. Hayati to explain about the effect of COVID-19 in context of fresh graduate. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi, my name is Norhayati binti Rosli and my matric number is A166390. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the major challenges faced by fresh graduate in job hunting during COVID-19 pandemic. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, fresh graduate will face new challenges and stiff competition looking for the jobs in the upcoming years due to the economic downturn. During this pandemic, companies are not able to pay their employees properly due to the slowdown of their business, delays of project, and the worst part is companies laying off a lot of workers. Due to this, many people's jobs have been snatched away. All in all, a worrying situation has arisen. It's become a competitive event between the engineers who have lost their jobs and we as fresh graduates. By this time, no new vacancies are available and wages are just stagnant. Being a fresh graduate during pandemic can be challenging because we also have student loans to pay off, family expense to support, and the need to be gainfully employed. With the increase of unemployment from the pre-COVID workforce, fresh graduates face the inevitable handicap of no work experience in the sea of experienced unemployed candidates. In addition, in this pandemic situation where a contractor or consultant are having really hard times for their business, employers are more likely to choose the one who have been working for many years instead of a new beginner like us. So, how we as a collegiate graduates in engineering field can overcome the COVID-19 job market? First of all, we need to improve or learn new skills. Developing a diverse skills can expand our appeal to a larger number of employers. This day, we have got a lot of opportunities to learn online at our own pace. Current situation demand graduates go beyond skill set and be ready to continuously update and refresh our skill to beat the experienced engineer who are hunting for the same position since they have lost their jobs during this pandemic. The big question interviewers might be asking is, what did you do in lockdown? Much like taking a year out, so employers will want to know what did we do that's put us in a better position. This might be through volunteering or developing our skill in an online course, especially important software skills related to engineering such as AutoCAD, STEAM, Civil 3D, ArcGIS, Plexis, Sidra, and etc. Indirectly, this will show potential employers that we are good candidates that are willing to learn to boost our skills and we have done something constructive with our time. Being a university graduate no longer guarantees us a job during this pandemic. In case if the trend of graduate unemployment keeps increasing in the near future, it is vital for us to think of new plans on how we can generate income without relying on jobs offered by both public and private sectors. Pandemic has made it harder to find ideal jobs and we may have to lower our expectations and standards. We need to see the importance of entrepreneurship skills because it opens path for career advancement. It may be necessary to consider to work outside our area of expertise while the employer adjusts to the coronavirus spread. If we can work during this time shows that we were able to adjust to the challenging situation which could make our application more competitive. Okay, now, as for the conclusion, COVID-19 is having a massive impact on every industry and construction industry is no exception. They have experienced varying degrees of impacts as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, to cope with this extraordinarily difficult time, everybody in the engineering field and construction industry need to prepare a proper plan and strategy ahead. There is no other way instead of trying to adapt to this new era of pandemic. Thank you.